Okay, tribe, happy full moon. Welcome. I'm going to check this waiting room. It says there's people in the waiting room. Oh, I had to get everybody in here. Hi, everyone. Welcome. So if you don't want your video on, turn it off. Otherwise, your video's on and people can see you, just to let you know about that. But otherwise, welcome. Happy full moon. And let me know how you're feeling with tonight's full moon as well. And don't just swipe here real quick. All right, there, now I can see. Perfect. Okay, so welcome everyone for today's full moon. I am going to get started first by just setting up our virtual full moon circle. And if this is your first time joining me, I will just say hi. My name is Bina Lene. You might also know me as Rachel, and I am a wound whisperer and a moon priestess and a channeler of the divine. And I am excited to host these virtual moon circles on Zoom for full moons and new moons, just to give you a little bit of insight on what's going on in the astrological world, as well as some guidance on how you can use this full moon energy or use any moon's energy to really help align with your best life yet. So anytime I do a moon circle, I like to bring in the elements, and that's what I'm going to do right now. And you can certainly set up your own moon circle at home with the elements, or you can just tune in and receive the energy that I'm setting up here. So the first element I want to bring in is the element of earth. And tonight I'm bringing in a couple of crystals into our transmission. The first one is an amethyst. I'm sorry, I got to itch my nose. It's going to drive me crazy. There we go. So I have an amethyst here. It's a really nice piece of amethyst. It's purple, it's sparkly, and this works with our third eye chakra. It really helps us to open up to our spirituality and open up more to the realms of the metaphysical. And then I also have a labradorite, which is one of my favorite stones, and I'll kind of show you both sides of it here. But this is a labradorite, and it's kind of got a, there we go, you can see that sheen to it. And it comes from Labrador, Canada, and it actually comes from meteorite. So this is literally a rock that's formed from elements out of this world. And then for an additional earth element today, I'm going to bring in just some white sage for smudging. So next we'll bring in the element of fire to smudge. And when we combine the fire with the smudge, we'll bring in the element of smoke or wind. So I always smudge before I hold my moon circles, even if I was doing this on my own and not publicly. Smudging is really good for cleansing the air around you. Even scientifically, we know that it cleanses the bacteria in the air around us. And it also helps to clear out just any distracting energy. The smoke helps to keep us present. The smoke also shows the veil between what we see and what we cannot see. It shows that space in between, which is a really important space to tune into tonight. We're going to talk about that. So I'm just going to let that smoke kind of go around in this space and then out to you in the ether as well, cleansing the space that we're sharing digitally right now. That smells good. I just had 2 clients back to back too, so I want to clear the energy in here before I get started with you. All right, so we're just going to continue to let that burn for a moment. I'll let the smoke rise up in case you can see it. And then I also have a candle today. I've got my Good Vibes Only candle. We use this in our moon circles from time to time. So full moons are a time when we can be a little over emotional. And this Pisces full moon that we're in right now is a water sign. And so we can really be over emotional right now. We can also tend to be in those lower frequency feelings like sadness, depression, anxiety, anger, jealousy, some of those things. So we're just going to remind ourselves to have our good vibes today, lighting our Good Vibes Only candle. Okay, so we've used the elements of earth with our crystals and our sage. We've brought in the element of fire to light up our sage, and then we've used the element of smoke or wind. For water today, I'm just bringing in this Sacred Life kombucha. This is what I'm drinking tonight. And I like to consume fermented foods around a full moon. Kombucha is a fermented food. I don't know if you know this, but parasites and yeast are more active during a full moon. So this is a time to really take care of your gut health and take care of those little microbes on the inside. So I usually like to consume some sort of kombucha around the full moon. And this is the Sacred Life one, and you can see it's a really pretty blue color as well. And we're going to talk about this Pisces energy tonight with the water, but I thought that that would really theme in well. So I've got all of my elements, and of course the fifth element is the ether that we're sharing here together. And know that even if you're tuning into this circle in the future, you're catching the replay, the energy is still just as potent throughout space and time. So it doesn't matter if you're tuning into the replay, all of these the energy of these elements is still here. So before we get started, let's just take a nice deep breath together, and I'm going to check and make sure that nobody else is waiting. For some reason, I had to let you guys into this meeting. Okay, we're good. Okay, so let's sit nice and tall for a moment, really ground in. Full moons are a time when we're not so grounded in our energy, so feel yourself connected to the earth, however you're sitting. Let's close the eyes for a moment. Let's take a deep breath through the nose, out through the mouth. Feel that tension releasing from your body. Let's take two more. Inhale through the nose, out through the mouth. One more time. Inhale and exhale. Blink your eyes open. Our circle is sealed. I'm going to grab a drink of water. I'm going to check the chat just to make sure nobody put anything there. Then we'll get started talking about tonight's full moon. Okay. So we are in the full moon of Pisces. So tonight I'm going to be talking about both the Western zodiac influence of the moon, and then I'm also going to talk about the Vedic astrology as well. We'll start with the Western side of things because that's what people are more familiar with. And this moon is in the sign of Pisces. So I'm curious to know if there's any Pisces on the transmission tonight. Feel free to put that in the chat. Pisces is the sign of the dreamer, and it's the sign usually that you see with two fish, but it also represents the entire ocean. So we are very much in an energy of expansion. We're in an energy of tapping into our dreams. So we have new moons and we have full moons. New moons, oh, I'm sorry, I just got a message. I just want to make sure somebody, let me see if I can send this link. Somebody's trying to join and they can't get in. Sorry. I want to make sure everybody can be here. We'll see what happens there. Okay, so during a new moon, we tend to be in an energy where we're a little bit heavier, we're a little bit unmotivated. It's kind of a time of the endings and the preparation for new beginnings. It's a great time to start planning and figuring out what your next step is. When you reach the full moon, you're halfway through a lunar cycle. And during the full moon, it's a time to kind of take a step back and evaluate where you are with your goals, with your intentions, with your dreams, with all of these little steps that you're taking, habits and rituals that you're forming. And you ask yourself what's standing in the way. So what is getting in the way of your day-to-day routine? What is standing in the way of you, doing all the things that you want to do? What is in your way of you reaching your dreams, for example? What's standing in your way of joy? These are the things we want to look at in a full moon. And then we really want to look at making a plan to release those things and not let them be such a distraction to us anymore. So when we are doing when we have a focus towards a full moon and a full moon in Pisces, then we want to look at what's standing in the way of our dreams. So what is standing in the way of us living our most ideal, perfect life? And can you make the steps to release that right now? Now, another thing that Pisces energy is related to is really just kind of imagination, inspiration, connection to maybe things that we cannot see. Like I said, it's the sign of the dreamer. And so it's a time when we can tap into the other veil as well. So this is a really beautiful time for you to call upon your angels, to call upon your spirit guides, to call upon your ancestors, to really ask for these entities to be with you right now and to help support you as you make these changes to get closer to your dreams. Because sometimes when we make these changes, it's hard, right? Like it's hard to set boundaries, or it's hard to cut ties, or it's hard to separate ourselves from the life that we used to have. But we know sometimes that is for the better. And this is another thing that we can really consider right now with this full moon, is that we need to look into our inner truth and say, look, I know this thing is not good for me and it's holding me back, and I need to be honest with myself, and I need to separate myself from it, or a person, or whatever it may be. But make the decision to be strong enough to make the change, because when you make the change, your dreams will get that much closer to you. So if you can't make it on your own, call upon the strength of the entities around you, call upon your angels and your ancestors and your spirit guides to help you at this time. So the sign of the dreamer reminds you to dream, right? We've been in Virgo energy. So the sun right now is in Virgo. We're in the Virgo season. Let me know if there's any Virgos out there in the chat tonight. And Virgo is an earth sign. So Virgo energy is very much about making lists, getting things done, figuring out the steps, figuring out how to do it, getting from point A to point B. And usually Virgos tend to overwork themselves. Virgos are a bit of a perfectionist, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it can tend to take away from their energy and their potential, because Virgo energy causes us to spend too much time caught up in the doing and not so much time in the dreaming or the daydreaming. Like we almost feel guilty for taking rest, or guilty for not always doing something towards our goals. So Pisces kind of ushers in right now, and Pisces is the sign opposite of Virgo. So right now we're the opposite of the sun sign when we're in the full moon. And Pisces reminds us to take a break and say, hey, like, don't work so hard. Like, you can't work all the time. You're going to get burned out. So take a nap, daydream for a little bit. Give yourself permission to do nothing. Give yourself permission to live a life now, or live pieces of a life now that you want to live in the future. So if I think about my own personal future dream life, right? Like I would totally work on my own terms. I would set up a schedule completely on my own terms, and I would have a lot of personal freedom to be able to kind of create content or write, or, have my own rituals and practices so that I can channel through more teachings and more messages. I would really spend a lot of time doing that. Now, do I do that now? No, I don't quite create my schedule on my own terms now. Like I have private clients that have certain times when they can meet with me, and I have to make that schedule work. However, I can look at my life now and say, okay, well, this is kind of my general schedule. Where can I fit in my own personal moon ceremony? Where can I fit in time for writing? And that's actually been something, just to let you know about me, that's been something I've really been working on since the beginning of or since our last full moon. Because with the full moon, the last time, it was all about releasing the things that are helping you releasing the things that are standing in the way of you expressing your truest self. And so I always express myself through writing. So one thing I've done since then is every day I'm doing something called morning pages. I don't know if you've heard of this before. It's kind of a morning routine thing with writers, but every morning I get up and I tend to my son, and then I have my hot tea and I sit down and I write. And sometimes I don't even have a plan. I just write whatever comes out. But I know in my future dream life, like that is something I want to do. I want to have the time freedom to write whenever I want. In fact, I would love to go away once a week, once a month for a couple of days on a weekend and just write. I think that would be really therapeutic for me. So I see that dream life, and I see that as the life I want to attain. So I'm starting to weave pieces of that dream life into my everyday world now. And so that's kind of what you can do. And moving forward from this full moon, you can say, okay, I have this dream. I've been working really hard on this dream with Virgo energy because I have to pay my bills and I have to like have a clean house and I have to have this structure. But then what can I do when I have the extra time, or how can I carve out time to bring in these other things that really make me happy? So I want you to set that intention for yourself tonight, tribe. I want you to look at yourself, your life, your schedule over the next few days and say, where can I fit in the things that bring me joy? Where can I fit in the things that I want to have more time to do in my future dream life? How can I make that happen right now? Okay, let's switch gears and let's talk a little bit about the Vedic side of astrology as well. So in the Vedic side of things, the moon tends to show up in different lunar mansions or star constellations, or what we call nakshatras, which is the Sanskrit word. And this moon is in the Shatabisha nakshatra. Shatabisha nakshatra. And this translates as either the veiling star, so lifting that veil. Remember I said, this is a time when we can connect to the other side, the dream world, our ancestors, our angels, our elders, everything on the other side is there. And so this veiling star is really bright right now. This star is also known as the star of 100 healers, or the star of 100 medicines. And I think that's a really important thing to bring into the theme of this full moon, because we're in a time of uncertainty right now. We're in a time where we have a virus taking over our planet. And I would say in more ways than one. It's not just this coronavirus. I think we have a virus of darkness taking over our planet right now. And, there's a lot of unveiling that's happening in the process. But with all of this uncertainty and all of this darkness, it creates a very unstable feeling within us. And one thing I'm even hearing from a lot of clients and a lot of people that I've been soul coaching is that people just feel lost. And we feel like all the things that we're trying to do to help us aren't working. So maybe you're seeing a therapist, maybe you're on some sort of medication, maybe you're doing meditation, maybe you're trying yoga, maybe you have some sort of talk therapy, or you have a group of friends that you talk with, or whatever it may be. But all of the things that we're trying to help us and to help our mental health and to help our emotional stability, they just seem like they're maybe quite not enough right now. This is a time for you to find your medicine. And this is something that's been coming through in a lot of my Reiki sessions with clients, especially when we're feeling lost, is that we have to find our own medicine in this, right? Like we have to find our path in our light. And there are hundreds, if not thousands of medicines out there, right? So from a very Western perspective, yes, we have medicines that can support us. But when I say the word medicine, I mean like the moon heals me, right? To tune into the moon in a cyclical way, every new moon and every full moon, I feel very stable when I do that. And the moon is my medicine. Or nature can be my medicine. When I'm feeling anxious and stressed, sometimes I just get outside in the sunshine and take a deep breath of fresh air, and that's my medicine. Sometimes it's a bath or a shower and submerging myself in water and connecting to that element. Maybe your medicine is meditation. Maybe your medicine is prayer and calling in on the angels. Maybe your medicine is working with crystals or essential oils. You know, there's a lot of things out there. And it's important right now as we're making this big cosmic shift on the great timeline that we open ourselves up to the possibilities of these other medicines, that we allow ourselves to utilize those in our life as well. And so you might find over the next month or over the next few months that if you're open to whatever comes, you might come across some new things that help to heal you. You might come across some new things to help assist you, or you might use some old tools that you haven't used in a long time. You might pick up those tools again to help you to provide this emotional stability and this mental health aspect. So this star of 100 healers, the star of 100 medicines, there's so much medicine around us. We just have to open ourselves up to it. This is also an indicator that we do possibly have some insight coming with the actual coronavirus. So this is a really interesting thing. The last time we had the moon in Shatabisha Nakshatra, it was the new moon back in February, and it was towards the end of February, right on the cusp before all this stuff happened. And it's said that illnesses rooted in Shatabisha can be really difficult to heal, really difficult to understand. Shatabisha carries a bit of mystery around it. This lunar mansion, this star is ruled by a very old Vedic deity or Vedic god known as Varuna. And Varuna is the god of both the depths of the ocean and the dark starry skies. So there's a mystery going on with this moon right now. There's a mystery in the energy that we're in right now, and we're feeling very, again, uncertain. So there's been a lot of information come out about this virus. There's a lot of so-called medicines and modalities that could help to heal it, right? And I think it makes sense to think that we could have many medicines that could help with this situation. It's not like there's going to be one cure. It's not even like that with a lot of other illnesses. So, we're opening ourselves up to these other medicines that are coming through. And whenever Shatabisha is illuminated, so when it's in the full moon aspect, that's when there's a time of answers coming with some of these problems that were rooted in the Shatabisha to begin with. So just know that over the next month, we might see more insight around the coronavirus. I know that in particular, just this past week, there's been a bit of truth unveiled around the coronavirus and the numbers that are being reported as far as the CDC just retracted, I don't remember the exact number, but I think it was either 140,000 or 160,000, something like that. And they said that out of all of those deaths reported, only 9,000 were actually due to COVID alone. And so, this veiling star is starting to illuminate a little bit of truth. We're starting to understand more about this situation at hand that's kind of left us in the darkness for the past 6 months or so. So just know that even on the Vedic side of things, we're saying, yes, we're kind of in this mysterious energy, but there's medicine on the other side of it. There's things that we can trust in to help heal us. We just have to be open up to the possibilities. I love that we have this ocean symbolism in our moon today. So whether you're looking at, the god Varuna being the god of the depths of the seas, or you're looking at Pisces being both the fish and the entire ocean, but there's a very watery element coming in right now. And it feels as if we're kind of washing away the old and bringing in the new. And we've even had some flooding and some hurricanes and some things with water really intensely in the past week or so as things start to shift cosmically. But know that we're kind of moving into a new chapter, and it kind of seems that way, right? Like summer's ending, fall is coming. We're adjusting to our new normal, whatever that means, right? But we're kind of letting old ways die and we're moving into new ways. So just know that there is a lot of positivity on the other side. We're going to start to understand more. We're going to start to heal ourselves. We're going to be well, and we're going to come out on the other side of this, changed for the better. We've got to go through that birth canal. We've got to go through that darkness in the process. So let me know if this is making sense. I have a couple of messages. I'm just going to check them, and I'll check the chat as well. couple people had problems logging into Zoom tonight, and I'm not sure why. Okay, so I had a couple of people that said, I'm trying to make it, but I can't get in and whatever. I'm not sure what's going on there. Let me check the chat. Okay, don't see anything in the chat at the moment either. Perfect. Okay, so let me know if this is making sense to you. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm gonna grab a drink of water here. Sacred Life kombucha water. Okay, so the big messages that are coming through right now for this full moon are really just to trust that everything's going to work out and trust that your dreams are still there. And I think that this is a big thing too. I think that we're all going through a little bit of grief over our past lives and our intentions in that past. And, even myself, I know I've had to make a lot of changes on how I run my business. And a lot of the dreams that I had before with my business have had to shift or be put on the back burner. And so this is a time when a lot of our dreams might have felt like they died, but they didn't. So just know that your dreams are still there, that you might have to make adjustments to them, and you might have to shift your point of view around them, but they're still there. And you can still live this life full of joy and full of positivity and full of pleasure and full of happiness. And you can live this future doing what you want to do, but you've got to start believing in it now, and you have to hold faith. And faith is a really strong word around this full moon. Faith in the metaphysical, faith in things that we cannot see, that we know are there, right? Remember, the smudge smoke helps us to see that veil between the two. But understanding that there's so much energy around us, there's so much protection, there's so much guidance if we would just open ourselves up to tapping into it. So open yourself up to the possibilities tonight with this Pisces new moon and what can possibly come to you. The other theme with this full moon is really to just incorporate more joy into your life, right? If we want to live this dream life full of happiness and positivity and joy and probably a little bit of play, we have to start incorporating that into our life now. So this is a really great moon to embrace childlike imagination, to play, to get creative, to have fun with kids. It's a good time to create a lot of art or just to color, kind of create something out of nothing, tap into that creative energy. This is a great time to work on your vision boards. If you have a vision board or if you've never made a vision board, you might want to look into doing that as well. And just journaling, taking time to daydream. I have several yoga nidra practices on YouTube, but taking the time to dream about your future dream life and the details of it and how you can start bringing those bits and pieces into your life right now. Okay, tribe. So I'm going to take a deep breath, and then I have pulled some tarot cards for tonight, and I'll interpret those. And then if we don't have any other questions after that, we'll seal our circle. So let me just take a breath to ground in. Asking the universe to bring through from the messages in these cards whatever needs to be spoken out to all who are tuning in tonight to this circle and all that tune in the future. Okay. I'm letting the star of 100 medicines and 100 healers come through these cards tonight, because I find the cards to be so healing. I don't know about you, but the cards are really healing to me. They really provide me messages. And I even have a couple of clients who message me and they're like, can you please just do a card reading really quick for whatever question? And I do that, by the way. So if you ever need a card reading, let me know. I do those. And so I pulled 3 cards from the Crystal Power Tarot tonight. I thought it would be good to work with crystal energy, considering that we're working with things more in the spiritual and metaphysical with this Pisces moon. And if any of the crystals on these cards really speak to you or stand out to you, know that this would be a great crystal to get during this full moon, charge with the full moon light, and then use over the rest of this lunar cycle. So you don't always have to work with the full moon exactly on the day of its fullest expression. Tonight the full moon is rising. It'll be at its fullest expression at 12:22 a.m. Central Time, but it's still good for a couple of days after that. So if one of these crystals resonates with you, get it tomorrow, stick it under the full moon tomorrow night, charge it up for your use. So I always pull a past, present, and future card. And the past card tonight was the card Justice. So I'll show this really beautiful card. I love this deck. So this is Justice, and you can see that she's holding the scales there. And she's also got a sword. So the sword represents cutting ties with what no longer serves, right? That separation that we talked about, setting those boundaries. And then the scales represent balance. So how can you balance out your life right now, right? I mentioned that we were in this Virgo energy, the go, 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 get it done, make the list, check it twice, check it off, move on to the next project and the next project. We will burn out if we're always in that energy. Even if it's working towards our dreams, if we're always putting the doing energy towards it, we will burn out. So this Justice card is asking us to find balance, to take time off, to play, to create, to daydream, to let yourself be inspired from the other side for a while instead of just from the earthly side of things. She's also holding in the scales, you'll see that all 7 chakras are there. And this does remind us to stay balanced within our energy centers as well. So we need to have balance between our earthly world and our spiritual world. So making sure that we tune into whatever our spirituality is, whatever our medicine is, to help us to find that emotional and energetic stability. There is a throne that she's sitting upon. This does remind you to put yourself first. And this has kind of been an underlying theme in the past few moons, but to put yourself first, to put your joy first, to put your pleasure first. Because if you want that dream life where all those things are happening, you have to start doing it now. So make sure that you're taking time for yourself here. There's a mantra on this card, and it says, I speak my truth in fairness to myself. Remember what I said earlier about being truthful to yourself, to let this veiling star unveil the truth within you and let yourself be honest with yourself and say, this is not working for me anymore. This relationship is not working for me anymore. This job is not working for me anymore. This routine that I have is not working for me anymore. You don't have to be the same all the time forever. Make the shifts that you need to make. So the crystal on this card is sodalite. Sodalite, Sodalite, and this works with the throat chakra. So if you are currently having trouble expressing your truest self, expressing that honesty, making the changes with what comes up, or just expressing yourself as a whole, your needs, your wants, your desires, you might want to bring some sodalite into your life right now. By the way, this card is represented by the number 8. And 8 is the sign of infinity. So just knowing also that your energy is infinite, your potential is infinite, and your dreams are infinite. Anything that you want to create in this life can be a possibility. Take the baby steps to put in the pieces that you can now and watch what happens. So for our present card right now, I pulled the Lovers. And here they are. So the sun is behind them, and we do have the sun illuminating the moon right now. You can see that they're holding a heart in between them. They're not intertwined, and so this card does represent that there's still a commitment or a decision to be made. Now, this might be in an actual marriage or, romantic relationship. So if you're in some sort of romantic relationship right now and there's a decision that needs to be made in that relationship or some sort of shift, maybe a boundary that needs to be set or some tie that needs to be cut, it's time to start making that. It's time to spend the next 2 weeks or spend this full moon energy making that commitment, making that decision, or making that separation, whatever may be. There's a lot of yellow and pink roses on this card, and there's a little bit of lavender as well. So it's just reminding us to kind of live this peaceful life, moving from our heart as much as possible. We, again, have a lot going on in the world right now, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of information, and we can tend to live in our head more, especially with the full moon when prana is heightened, gravity is weaker on the earth, we're pulled up into our head, and we can start to overanalyze things. Pisces, being related to the ocean, can be a very wide spectrum of emotions in itself. So you could be feeling all over the place right now, And know that the more you learn to breathe into your heart, to move from your heart, and to live from your heart, the more peaceful that will be. I think it's a general reminder too, just to take some deep breaths right now, because when we live out of our heart chakra, it's our air element, and we learn to just breathe and be at peace with everything going on. The mantra right now on this card says, I trust my knowing and I make a commitment. This kind of goes back with our truth, right? Being fair to ourselves. Like, we trust that we know what we need to do, right? Our inner guides and our outer guides let us know what we need to do to align with our best self, to align with our dream life. But we have to make the commitment to shift. We have to make the commitment to separate ourselves or make the change or do something different. So this is the present card, and this is where you're standing right now. You're kind of at this crossroads. Where do you want to go from here? Or do you want to move toward this more joyful, heartfelt life? Do you want to create more love in your life and more abundance? All this yellow is solar plexus, which is confidence and abundance as well. Really start to trust and have that faith that it can be that way. This card is represented by the rose quartz as well. In addition to all those roses around, rose quartz works with your heart chakra. So if this is something you need to work on right now, you might want to bring in rose quartz. Also, if you're in some sort of romantic relationship, if you're working on fertility, rose quartz is really good for those. If you're pregnant right now, rose quartz can help protect you. And rose quartz is really good for helping us to live a life of compassion and live more out of our heart and move more out of our heart rather than our mind. For the future card, I pulled the Hierophant. So she's a wisdom keeper, the Hierophant. And you can see that she's got this lotus flower down here. She's got an open book. There's a key floating around. And she is reminding us that there's so much wisdom out there, so much still to be learned, so much to still understand. And it's important to know that whatever you feel is your truth is correct, right? It doesn't matter if anybody else understands it or not, right? Whatever is your medicine, whatever is your spirituality, whatever feels good for you, whatever is your truth, it is your truth. So know that you have a lot of wisdom inside of you and a lot of guidance that's going to be coming through right now. But also open yourself up to the possibilities of wisdom coming in from elsewhere. Remember, I mentioned that you might come across like a new way of doing something in the next 2 weeks, or you might be inspired to do something differently, or you might pull out an old tool that you used to use in your practices and it becomes useful again. You might learn a new tool. Just be open to whatever comes through. The lotus that she's got here, I think that this represents Saraswati, the goddess Saraswati, which is the goddess of knowledge and education and art as well. We're being asked to be creative right now. I mentioned that you could create art during this new moon, during this full moon. You can create art and you can color and you can paint. You can use your imagination. So know that you have the possibility to really tap into that right now, and it can be really useful to you. This key up here is just letting you know that the key to unlocking your future is right here, right now, and it's hovering right in front of you. You just have to open yourself up to whatever you need to do to reach that door and unlock that door into your future. So be open to everything that comes right now. Be open to the guidance that's coming from the other side. Pay attention to your dreams. Your dreams can be really powerful right now. This is represented by the number 5, which always means growth. 5 is an angel number for growth and expansion. And the mantra here is, I am ready to love and to learn. So I think that pretty much speaks for itself. The stone on this card is amethyst. And I mentioned that we have amethyst tonight in our moon circle, right? Amethyst. So amethyst works with your third eye chakra. It helps to open up your spiritual chakras, and it helps you to open up to what's on the other side that needs to reach you. This is a really great stone to use in meditation. So if you're trying to develop a stronger meditation practice, or if you just want to have messages come through in your meditation, you might want to use amethyst for that as well. Okay, so those are our 3 cards there. And then I also pulled just a basic tarot card tonight because I felt like we needed like an overlying card for the theme of this big shift that we're going into right now. So this is something I haven't mentioned yet, and it's not really to do with the moon, but we've had a lot of planets in retrograde over the past 6 months. And Saturn and Jupiter are still in retrograde, but they're going to be stationing direct this month in September. And it's been quite a journey with both of those planets. So Saturn is the planet of karmic lessons. So big lessons that we learn in life that help us to evolve and like not make the same mistake again or become a better person out of the situation. That's the planet. Saturn is the planetary influence of that. So I think we're all learning big lessons right now, right? With this year, we're making big shifts and there's a lot of wisdom that's coming through. So know that, you know, the Saturn planet's going to station direct, and that's going to give us a lot of wisdom, kind of bigger picture stuff of what we've been through over the past year. Jupiter is the planet of expansion and growth, and it has been in retrograde. And good Lord, 2020 was not the year for us to make the growth and changes, right? It was a time to retract and withdraw and start over and analyze what's been happening so far. What the heck has been going on? So Jupiter's been in retrograde. It's going direct here in September. So again, we're finally going to be able to move forward towards our growth, towards our expansion, towards our dreams, towards our joy, towards our happiness. There is happiness on the other side of things, okay? So these are the planetary influences that are going on right now as well. And so with that influence of like what is going on right now, I ended up pulling the King of Pentacles. And I've pulled a lot of pentacle cards in the past few moon circles. So you can see here, he's sitting on his throne. He's got the sun or the pentacle in his lap. And he's cloaked in orange. And orange is the color of the sacral chakra. So although this is a king, this is masculine energy, and it's surrounded by yellow, which is total solar plexus, holding the sun, solar plexus. The orange reminds us to be mindful of our emotions as well. So the King of Pentacles is actually a very logical king. He rules with ease. He's very practical. We've been in this Virgo practical energy, but he's also a problem solver. In fact, there could be legal issues that get solved at this time. So remember, we also had the Justice card, which could also be legal issues. So if you have any legal issues going on right now, that might start to resolve itself. But there's also just kind of a problem solver energy that's coming through. And so I really do think as we move forward into September and some of these planets come out of retrograde, I really think we're going to start to understand more about what is going on in our world. We're going to have a lot of answers in regards to this virus that's going on. We're going to have a lot of answers as far as our government and politics around the world, you know, not just here in the United States where I am. There's a lot of political shifts happening right now, a lot of uncertainty right now, but some of those answers are going to start to come over the next month or so. The King of Pentacles reminds us that it's all good. It is all good. It is all good on the other side of things. The abundance is there. The joy is there. The happiness is there. I promise. We just have to have faith. Remember, faith is a great word for this moon right now. So have a lot of faith in what's to come because it is all good. And we're going to have kind of a new world, right? We're going to have a new way of ruling, a new way of doing things, a whole new normal. But know that it's going to be for the best for us. So I'll just put these cards up one more time so that you see them. For the past, justice. This does make me also think there's a lot of like equality matters coming to heart right now. And there's a lot of justice being served around equality, which is nice too. But just holding balance, cutting ties where you need to, finding where you need to be balanced, putting yourself first and speaking your truth about your wants, needs, and desires, so delight to strengthen that throat chakra. The Lovers for our present card, what commitment do you need to make? What decision do you need to make in your relationship, romantically, work, family, social, whatever it may be? What are the decisions and commitments that you need to make now to truly shift towards a life that's heartfelt, full of joy, a life that you really love? rose quartz to strengthen your heart chakra and move from these places where your desires manifest. And for the future, the Hierophant, the wisdom keeper, the one who wants to continue to learn and be open to new possibilities. There's so much knowledge coming to us, so much more that we are yet to understand. It's okay if we only understand it to ourselves now and nobody else does. Trust in whatever wisdom is truth to you. Find your spirituality and find your medicine, and amethyst can help you with your third eye and your intuition along the way with your spiritual practices. And then finally, the King of Pentacles, letting us know that it's all good on the other side of things. The future is bright. The future is abundant and prosperous, full of joy. Just hold faith. It's all coming. Okay, sisters, so I'm just going to grab one more drink. And if you want to put anything in the chat, please feel free. Otherwise, we're simply going to take a few breaths and seal our circle tonight. I hope that these cards have served you. I will put out a tarot reading and write about these cards tomorrow so that you could, excuse me, so that you can read more about them. And sometimes things come through more when I write anyway, so I'll do that with my morning pages tomorrow. Let me check the chat and make sure nobody has any questions. Everybody's good. Okay, great, perfect. Okay, tribe, so I think with that, we'll just take a few deep breaths. Where did I go? Why is my camera not on? I don't know what happened to my camera. That's weird. I'm back. Okay, so let's seal our circle with just a few deep breaths here. Again, sitting tall, coming back, reground, connect to earth. Close your eyes. Let's take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, and again, in through the nose, out through the mouth. One more time, releasing any tension that's left. Blinking the eyes open. Blessings be to you on this full moon in Pisces. Thank you so much for joining me, whether this be live or on the replay later. Reminder to set out your crystals, to charge up some moon water if that feels good. Set out your card decks, any of your woo that you want to charge under the moon. Here it's been raining. You don't have to set things outside. You can put them just where the moonlight comes in through your windows. It's okay if it's cloudy. The moon's energy is still here. It will still charge all of your wonderful things that you set outside. Make sure that you are paying attention to your dreams, all the messages that come through in the next few nights with this full moon energy, and pay attention to your dreams when you are awake. What dream life are you ready to create right now? What bits and pieces of joy, pleasure, and fun can you bring into your life right now? How can you make sure that your life is good vibes only? Start making those shifts and commitments now. Okay, loves, thank you so much. I am going to blow out our candle. And now our circle is done. I hope you all have a beautiful evening. This replay will be available tomorrow on YouTube and my website. And have a beautiful full moon. Namaste.